Beyond the Badge is brought to you by Edina Alarm and the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.
Welcome to Beyond the Badge, a program about the inner workings of the Edina Police Department. Thanks for joining us. I'm Officer Brian Hubbard. Speed through Edina and you're asking for a ticket. The city's reputation for cracking down on speeders and other traffic violators recently earned accolades for the police department. Edina, along with the Minnesota State Patrol and departments in Minneapolis and St. Paul, ranked among the highest of the state's 270 safe and sober law enforcement agencies, reporting to the Office of Traffic Safety in July. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety recently recognized Edina for the number of speeding citations issued that month, citing it as the premier agency in the metro area and one of the best in the state for high visibility enforcement.
Well, Edina Police has demonstrated that they really have a true dedication to traffic enforcement, and it shows with the results. And of course, it shows the community that, when you're in your vehicle, you have to take driving seriously, otherwise there are going to be consequences.
Police Chief Jeff Long says the Edina Police Department has a tradition of responding to residents' requests for traffic enforcement to curb speeding and other traffic violations in neighborhoods.
One of the great things about doing traffic enforcement is you're going to find a lot of other crime. We have some of the lowest crime statistics in the entire metropolitan area. One traffic stop approximately a year ago resulted in the clearance of over 30 theft from autos, and that was just a simple traffic stop. So one of the benefits to the residents of Edina by us doing so much traffic enforcement is you are going to have a reduced crime rate.
Texting and driving are a dangerous combination, especially among teen drivers. According to a National Safety Council study, 28% of all traffic accidents occur when people talk on cell phones or send text messages while behind the wheel. Another study conducted by the Virginia Tech Transportation Institute shows that teen drivers are 4 times more likely than adults to get into car accidents directly related to talking on a cell phone or texting. With the number of distracted driving accidents on the rise, the Edina Police Department is doing what it can to help solve the problem. The police department sent email messages to parents in September, reminding them that they have the right to revoke their minor child's license if they feel the teenager is being unsafe while driving. The department also plans to hold a parent education forum and give presentations to parent-teacher organizations.
Our goal is, number one, to educate teens on how dangerous it can be, and young people as a whole, how dangerous it can be to be distracted, whether it's the GPS on your windshield, loud music, talking on the phone, texting, whatever it may be.
As an added incentive, officers rewarded good driving behavior the first weeks of school by handing out gift certificates and coupons to safe drivers. Edina High School Sober Squad is also backing up the effort by providing teachers with t-shirts displaying slogans such as "Click it or ticket" to remind students of the initiative. Graphic posters will also be hung around school.
We kind of help brainstorm ways to get the idea out there, and we came up with ideas like t-shirts and doing forums and seminars and letters out to parents and things like that.
Other events planned for the school year include a driver experience course where teens will get behind the wheel and be asked to deal with the distractions thrown at them by the course or the riding officer. The bi-yearly mock car crash is also planned before Edina's prom to remind students about the dangers of drinking and driving. Edina police officers are especially vigilant about looking for drunk drivers while enforcing traffic. After stopping a driver suspected of driving under the influence, a police officer often administers a preliminary breath test. Let's go out in the field where Aaron White is with Sergeant Phil Larson, who will demonstrate that test as part of a new segment we like to call How's It Work?
Thanks, Brian. We're back out in the field to launch a new segment called How's It Work, where we're going to take a look at some of the devices, equipment, and technology that police officers use to do their jobs. And today I'm joined by Sergeant Phil Larson, who's going to help us out with that. Phil, thanks for being here today.
You're welcome.
And you're going to talk a little bit about the preliminary, or some people call it a portable breath test that officers carry in their squad cars. Can you introduce us?
Sure. This is the AlkaSensor 4. It's a all Edina squad cars are equipped with this. Basically what we do with this, Aaron, is we use this as a tool to gauge what a person's breath or blood alcohol content might be out in the field. So in other words, we stop a car that's weaving down the road late at night. We suspect the driver might be under the influence of alcohol. We make that traffic stop.
Sure.
And after we go through a series of steps, we might get to the point where we would use this to try to determine their alcohol concentration.
So it's portable in that every squad car has this device available.
That's correct.
And what does this device allow you to do?
Okay, the reason it's called preliminary breath test is that we're able to take this instrument with a mouthpiece attached, have a person blow into it, and get a reading of their alcohol concentration.
Okay. Kind of to confirm or deny your suspicions to that point.
Right, and what we're looking for is 0.08, which is the legal level for intoxication in Minnesota.
How about a demonstration? Can you show me how the device works?
Sure. Well, how it works is the officer will take an individually wrapped single-use mouthpiece, place it into the PBT, and then wait to make sure we keep these temperature controlled. So the officer's looking for certain readings in here.
Okay.
When they get a 000 flashing across there, then what will happen is you'll get a set instruction. Then you'll have to wait again. That expels all the air out of the collection chamber inside.
Those zeros there telling you there's nothing in the device, you're good to go.
Correct. You're starting with a blank air sample, ambient air sample. Test then tells me it's time for you to take the test.
Okay, what do I need to do?
Would you like to demonstrate? You need to take a deep breath. I need to look in your mouth to make sure that you don't have anything inside there. Then I would ask you, have you had anything to drink in the last 15 minutes or so?
Just my coffee.
Yeah, okay. I would hope that you wouldn't, but it's telling us now to take the test. So I want you to take a deep breath.
Okay.
This relies on deep lung air sample. So you take a deep breath and I'll tell you when to quit.
All right.
That's good.
It's a lot of work.
When you hear that clicking sound, now your result is a 0.000.
That's what I was hoping you were going to tell me.
Which means you get to go to work tonight.
Okay.
Okay. And
so very quickly,
and what it would mean for the person that we stopped is that if they registered a 000, unless we had some indication that they might be under the influence of drugs or something else, there's a separate test for that. We then let them go on their way.
Gotcha. Very quickly, you're able to get that baseline kind of reference and be able to make good decisions about the work you're doing out there.
Correct.
Well, thanks for the overview. A little look at some technology we use, and something we'll be doing in future episodes is looking at more and more items behind the scenes in the work we do here at the Edina Police Department. Thanks, Phil. We'll return to Brian in the studio.
Thank you, Aaron.
Despite the police department's vigilant enforcement efforts, the first traffic fatality on Edina streets in more than a decade occurred in early September. According to the criminal complaint, Edina police were dispatched to a collision at the intersection of Vernon Avenue and Hanson Road at approximately 6:25 p.m. September 1. Witnesses told police a white SUV signaled and turned left from Vernon Avenue onto southbound Hanson Road into the path of a moped scooter. The driver of the moped, 53-year-old Edina resident Robert William Kunze, was thrown from the scooter, hitting the windshield of the SUV before landing in the roadway. Kunze was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he died of blunt force injuries received in the accident. The 41-year-old driver of the Ford Escape left the scene of the crash and was located at his residence in Edina and arrested. A preliminary breath test showed the suspect's blood alcohol content to be 0.165%, more than twice the legal limit. A blood sample was also taken and was sent to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension for analysis. In each episode of Beyond the Badge, we take an in-depth look at different ways viewers can protect themselves from crime. This month, we're focusing on home security. You can make your home less appealing to burglars by trimming shrubs so windows and doors can be fully viewed from the street. Unobstructed doors and windows are a deterrent because the intruder is forced to work where they can be seen. Maintain adequate lighting, especially at vulnerable entry points. Install a yard light. Close and lock windows, especially on the first floor. The police department has had some reports of burglars entering homes on the first floor by cutting the screens on open first floor windows. Lock up ladders and tools so that burglars cannot use them to enter your home. Lock all valuables, such as mowers and bicycles, in your garage or shed. Always lock garage doors. This is especially important if you have an attached garage. Burglars can enter your home through the door leading from an attached garage to the house. At night, Make sure to lock your vehicle if it is left outside in your driveway. The police department has had several reports of not just thefts from unlocked vehicles, but of burglaries taking place inside locked homes and garages where an unlocked vehicle had been left outside. How did the perpetrator get in? By using the garage door opener left in the unlocked vehicle. Sharing prevention messages like these is the job of the police department's crime prevention coordinator. New to the position is Kaylin Martin. Martin works closely with the department's public information officer and oversees crime prevention programs, including Night to Unite and security surveys.
Do my best to just work with the officers and the residents to prevent crime and protect our residents.
Another police department program aimed at prevention is Neighbors Home Watch, a cooperative program of the police department and residents. In the interactive program, an emphasis is placed on the prevention of property crime, especially residential burglary. Neighbors Home Watch groups must consist of at least 10 households, or half of the number of units in a multiple dwelling building, and meet annually. Police Department Administrative Support Specialist Amy Canepa recently took over the duty of overseeing the program.
We help educate residents about neighborhood security, residential security, when to call 911, the most common crimes in Edina.
Both the Crime Prevention Coordinator position and the Neighbors Home Watch program are funded in part by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund. Edina police officers are constantly training and honing their skills. We are fortunate enough to have a local facility for training, the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility. The training facility is a joint project of the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport Police Department and the cities of Bloomington, Eden Prairie, and Edina. Let's go back to Officer Aaron White, who's at the training facility with Executive Director Deborah Fields, to learn more about the campus and its features.
Thanks, Brian. We're out at the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility, a place we've shot a number of interviews in the past, and today we thought it was time to introduce people to what actually goes on here at the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility. That's a mouthful, and to help me sort it all out is Executive Director of the facility, Deborah Fields. Deb, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you fill us in a little bit, tell people what goes on here at the training facility and what its purpose is?
Well, we have a number of agencies that come out here and do both police and fire training. So in the building here behind us, we've got 2 firearms ranges and a firearms simulator, as well as a defensive tactics gym and 2 classrooms. And then out behind the building is a 6-story fire tower where police officers can do tactical training, as well as firefighters can do burn and smoke operations.
So all designed around the specialized training for law
police
enforcement,
and
firefighting, and it's
correct.
Modern versions of those things.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about the fire tower. I understand that's kind of a new way of doing things.
Yeah, the fire tower is 6 stories where our police and firefighters can go in and do tactical training. There's 2 specialized burners that run off of computers in there where they can start a fire that they have to put out, or we can generate smoke that maybe officers could use for a tactical training, as well as the firefighters. It's very unique equipment out there, and it's really cool for the firefighters and the police officers to be able to use that type of equipment.
And also, speaking of modern technology, there is the firearms simulator system, which is almost like a giant video game for training purposes. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a very interesting training tool that the police officers use, where you're interacting with something that's going on a screen, maybe a domestic call or you send out on a robbery call. You use laser technology to interact with something that's going on with a screen. So the officers, as you well know, come in, instead of using your duty weapon, you'll use one that's just like your duty weapon and be interacting with what's going on the screen
Allows
with the laser
them to simulate real world situations at a traditional firing range. Tonight we see officers arriving. They're actually from an outside agency. They've rented the facility.
Metro Transit Police is here tonight doing their in-service training. One of our other primary renters is the Federal Air Marshal Service, does all of their qualifications here. And the VA Police Department does all of their training here. So there's a number of agencies, and then so many other agencies that come in for maybe 1 or 2 times a year that we see.
So a lot of training opportunities for a lot of different agencies here. However, even though the facility is specialized, serves that unique purpose, there are opportunities for the public to come out here and get some classes and other access. What types of offerings do you have for the public?
Yeah, it's very rare to find a police training facility such as this that offers the public access that we do. And it's a great opportunity for the public to come in and be part of where you train, where the officers train. Our firing range, our large firing range, which is our qualification range for police officers, is open on Saturdays, every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
It's pistol only, it's bullseye only, but you can bring in your handgun and practice on the police firearms range.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have an introduction to handguns and firearm safety training class that we offer to both men and women, and permit to carry classes, DNR classes for kids. So there's a number of public access opportunities here as well.
That's great. And if people want to take advantage of those programs, classes, access to the range, best place to find information?
Best place to find information is our website, southmetrotraining.com.
All right. Well, Deb, thanks for sharing some of what goes on here at the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility.
That is a mouthful.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate you being on the show. Deborah Fields, Executive Director with the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility, and we'll return to Brian in the studio.
In recent years, the Edina Police Department has been commended for the support they show officers who are called away on military duty. Before we go, we want to share with you one of those stories and the impact a police officer in Edina had on the recent oil spill in the Gulf.
This is Comfort Island in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana. All the pollution boom around there.
Parts of Louisiana were hit very hard. They were devastated with the oil up in this delicate marshland.
Oil-covered bergs and pollution booms became a familiar sight in the Gulf of Mexico after the Deepwater Horizon oil well exploded in April, killing 12 people.
They're skimming tar balls right here.
Even a hurricane is such a smaller disaster compared to this oil spill.
Edina police officer and member of the U.S. Coast Guard, Kevin Rothedal, spent 2 months down south helping to organize cleanup efforts for the largest oil spill in U.S. history.
It's some old impacted oil right there.
Rothedal worked at a local command center out of St. Bernard's Parish in Louisiana.
The seas today are projected to be 4 to 7 feet.
Well, basically we had to have people working from sunup to sundown. We started off with about 1,200 people on our base, and by the time I left at the end of July, it had grown to about 2,300 people. And the command center would then make the decisions on where to delegate the workers. We had rapid response teams that would go out and check the oil, figure out what's recoverable, what isn't recoverable.
Working in the ocean didn't come without its challenges.
The storm has made landfall, or is starting to make landfall in Miami.
Workers faced tropical storms,
the bad weather, the lightning, the high waves, it really rocked things up.
Hurricanes.
Hurricane Alex, when that came through with just the rain, it swamped some of the small vessels, some of the small boats.
And dangerous wildlife.
Huge challenges just with snakes, with these workers trying to pull this boom in out of the water with the snakes moving around. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's very fast-paced. When you roll onto the base, you hit the ground running, everybody.
While Rothedal was down south, the Edina Police Department was down one officer.
For the shift, we suddenly lose a body for, especially on these types of deployments with a national disaster, you don't know how long it's going to last. He'd call us a few times, send us a lot of emails. Loves technology, so he sent us a lot of pictures that he took while he was deployed. So we kind of had an update on what was going on from his view of where he was, which was really nice. It's still not the same as seeing him every day, of course, when you're working, but at least he did keep in touch, which was nice.
Hey, welcome back, yeah.
The Edina Police Department has been recognized in the past by the Federal Department of Defense for its support of their employees who also serve in the military.
I think most employers, and especially in the public sector, need to realize that they need to support the folks that are responding to these. It's stressful for them to leave their families and go to it in the first place, let alone to have the stress of an employer coming down on them. So we try to minimize that.
You can see the sheen in the water right here.
It's a tragic event. There's no question about it. There isn't a person down there that was fighting the oil that didn't take a look at this and think, you know, this is just a terrible effect that it's got on the local wildlife and the state of Louisiana. I mean, they get hit pretty hard on this.
With Steve Christensen, I'm Kaylin Martin, Edina 16.
A member of the U.S. Coast Guard for about 10 years, Officer Rothedal was also called to duty after the collapse of the 35W bridge. On behalf of my co-host, Officer Aaron White, and the rest of the officers of the Edina Police Department, thanks for tuning in to learn a little bit more about what goes on beyond the badge. Stay safe.
Beyond the Badge is brought to you by Edina Alarm and the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.